Welcome back. We just got back from Rocky Point. We're home now, and we want to start doing our videos about the different subjects we had talked about. So tonight we're going to talk. I'm going to talk to Victor. I have some questions for him about his military career, how it went from avionics to nursing, and then some other aspects of that went into his PTSD. You ready?
Let's do it.
Okay. I just made up some questions. We'll kind of elaborate on the questions as we go. So what made you decide to get into the Air Force?
The Air Force was something that I wanted to get into since sixth grade. I remember in sixth grade in grade school, just with the guys. Actually, there was several of us that we would always talk about getting into the Air Force, and I think the movie Top Gun kind of kicked it off in the early '80s, which was kind of crazy, Navy thing. But I wanted to get in the Air Force right after high school, and it didn't happen due to my family convincing me not to go into the Air Force because really nobody in the family had really gone into the military at that point, and so they felt like I was just going to get killed. It was just a death sentence to get into the military. They convinced me not to. I got into construction. I did 4 years of tile and marble, and then I got to a point where it just kept calling me, and so I walked into a recruiter's office at 22 years old, and just told them, "Just give me the papers, I'll sign them."
I'm sure your mother was happy.
I did what I got. I did what I had to do.
Yeah. So since we all know, and some of the subscribers know that you went into avionics, you want to explain what avionics is, and was that your first choice?
Well, it was not my first choice. Avionics, though, are all the components in the aircraft that make flying possible. So the computers and the controls that let the pilot know you're up in the air, how far up in the air, what maneuvers to do, pull on the joystick, make it turn, radar, letting you need the radar signatures, knowing where all the other aircraft are, where their targets are on the ground. It's actually quite a bit of stuff. Even how the aircraft defends itself against other rockets. It is quite a, now that I think about it, it is a lot that encompasses avionics. But just in general, it's all the components. And
On the F-16s.
on the F-16s, yes, I was strictly on F-16s. Yeah, all the components and the instruments possible to make the aircraft, stay up in the air.
So your first base was at Luke, which is right down the road from us.
Yes,
That is actually where we met.
it is.
It is. And then from there, you went to where?
From Luke, so I was stationed at Luke in 1993. Actually, I arrived at Luke in July 4th, 1993, and I went to Korea. Was my first assignment outside of Luke. Spent a year in Korea, which was all of 1997. Arrived early or mid-January 1997 and left in January of 1998.
Yes. And that's when we were pregnant with our first son.
Second.
Second son. Oops. Sorry, second son.
Yes.
So I actually went to visit you in Korea
You did.
and lost my luggage and had to wear baggy clothes all in Korea while I was there, pregnant, like 5 months pregnant with Leo.
It was. Yeah.
So from there, went to Luke, right?
No.
To Hill.
Went to Hill Air Force Base in Utah. We were stationed up there for 7 years. Had some really good times.
Met a lot of so many
A
people.
lot of friends. The mission there, I really absolutely love the mission in Utah. Deployed 4 times.
Mhm.
Deployed 4 times out of Hill Air Force Base. There was there with the 421st Black Widow Squadron. Uh, Still to this day have some pretty good friends from. This is back in 1998 to 2004.
Mhm.
Yeah, left there in 2004, and still have some friends that I keep in touch with there, that I can call them really good buddies.
Funny story is that I didn't know anybody's name. I just knew everybody's last name because that's all Victor would say is Brady, or he would say this and that. So I thought everybody's name, that was their first name, but it was actually their last name. So I only knew everybody but their last names. We had some good times there, really good times there.
By the way, it's very common that everybody knows each other by last names only. And I've heard it just in my military career, throughout my military career, that we get surprised when sometimes it takes a while to even remember or learn people's first names.
Mm-hmm.
So because we go by our last names so much, that we don't care about who's what's your first name. So sometimes I've actually had relationship with certain individuals for a couple years, and then somebody will be like, well, where's Maggie? And I'm like, who's Maggie? And they're like, are you kidding? You've been working with her for 2 years and you don't know who Maggie is?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, oh, it's pretty common. I've talked to other people and they're the same way.
So we lived in base housing, and it was older base housing, but it was nice. We had a lot of...
It was comfortable.
Yes, comfortable. We had a lot of good times there. Had my mom there. It used to snow. That was the first time we've experienced snow and lived in snow. We used to make snow like tunnels for the boys to slide in from our driveway because it's so bad.
Yeah.
And then I loved it. We had parties there. We met some really good friends that we are still in contact with all the time. That was probably one of the best times I've had. 7 years didn't even seem like 7 years when we were there. It was really sad when we left. But during that time, that's when 9/11 hit. Do you remember where we were during 9/11?
Yeah,
that
we were
day?
in our bedroom.
Yeah.
I was working nights, and I was about to go to sleep. So our night shift hours would change from one week to the next. I think it was a Monday. I think the 9/11 hit on a Monday, I believe. And I called in just to verify what time that I had to be, at work that evening. And one of my supervisors answered, and I asked him, "Hey, what time do I need to come in?" And he's like, I don't think we're going to be coming in tonight." And I'm like, "Well, what's going on?" He's like, he goes, "You don't know?" I'm like, "I know, I don't know. I need to know what's going on." He goes, "Just turn on the channel. Turn on the TV."
Any channel.
And I go, what TV? What channel you want me?" He goes, "Any channel." At that point, I was like crazy scared.
Me too, because remember my mom was like, she didn't understand what was going on. And so she had been focused on the news, and then we heard it from when we turned on the news, and our kids were in school during that time, and we actually got told to go pick up our boys, and then our daughter had to get bussed in. They had to cram everybody she was in middle school, had to cram all the middle school or junior high, cram them all in one bus to get into the gate. So they were scared. Then we had to walk up while you were trying to figure out what's going to go on with you. Me and my mother had to walk to the elementary school, and all the parents were there crying and trying to get our children out. And we saw our children. I saw our boys, and they're crying. They don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on. And it was just that whole day was like almost like slow motion on going through everything. And then when we came back, you were telling us what kind of what you knew. Not, you didn't still know everything.
Yeah, I was told that I would have more orders follow up probably later that afternoon, and I think that evening I was called and I was informed that to get my matters, wrap up your matters here. Typically, that means that I had, I don't know, hours or days before we were going to get shipped off somewhere. And sure enough, I think within the week,
Yeah, because
I was on a plane
well, they shut the
to
base,
the East Coast.
and that's when they shut the whole base. We're in lockdown. I had to call my work and tell them that I could not go to work. Yeah, and I think we actually met in the auditorium to sign wills. Was that when we had to sign a will?
I believe so, yeah.
There was all of us there. It was like an assembly line having to sign living wills, power of attorney. Everything had to be signed there. We didn't really get a briefing on everything. So us, it was scary. I had family calling. We didn't know what was going on. And, and I have young children. It was hard for me to explain to them, and a mother that didn't speak very good English. So we didn't know if we were going to come back. We didn't actually know what was going on. So I think you said that the first shirt, there'll be people still staying here that will keep in contact with us if we have any problems or any needs. And the only thing they could tell us was watch the news. Like, you can't tell us anything, and that we didn't even know like when we were going to talk to you again. So that was probably one of the big devastating things as a military wife to go through, not knowing what's going to happen and trying to hold it together, because I have a mother that didn't understand English, and I have my family to report to, along with taking care of 3 young children.
Yeah.
So,
we were staged up in Charleston. We were right on the coast, ready for orders to go, and our jets were there. They were loaded, bombs, rockets, everything. We were ready to attack whatever.
Yeah.
And we were there 3 or 4 days in Charleston, and then received our orders to return back to the base.
Yeah, which was a relief for us. But during that time, we have no clue. So we were just kind of waiting to see what was going to happen during that time. So I think that was kind of a wake-up call that military is real, that you are prepared for at any time anything could happen. We lived on base, so we felt kind of safe, because the lockdown base, the base was self-sufficient and everything. His squadron was really good about keeping the spouses whatever they needed, and to have that support is like incredible. It was like everybody bonded together, and it was nice. So that's anyways, so that was us when we went through there. Then we moved out of Hill in 2004 and came back to Luke.
Yeah.
For you to teach.
Yes. I even though that we loved Utah, I needed to leave Utah to at least Hill Air Force Base. I knew I had to grow professionally and had to move from there. So I tried several things to try to move from Hill Air Force Base, and the one that made it happen was to take an instructor spot at Luke Air Force Base. I was hesitant about doing it. I know my friend Ernie had been trying to convince me to do it for years at that point, because he had become an instructor himself, and he said, you got to do it, and I didn't believe him, and then I did it, and once I did it, I don't regret it. It was one of the best decisions ever.
Yeah, and then from there we went to Vegas.
Well, that's when I became an instructor, I was convinced to go to college.
Yes.
My supervisors let me know that I was doing a fantastic job at being an instructor, but being an instructor, it was not just about, because we're there to teach, and so, and and learn. And the way my supervisor told me was, we're there. You don't have to just talk the talk. You gotta walk the walk also. So if you're here to teach, you should be learning something or progressing in your educational goals. And so he told me if I'm not taking college, he's gonna have to mark me down on my annual. And so I started taking college, and I did it with a fierce. I ferociously jumped into that once I jumped into college, and I was taking like a full boat of
Plus
college,
working, yeah.
plus full time,
Yeah.
plus I had a part-time job too.
Yeah.
On the weekends. So that was a good 4 years. Or no, that wasn't 4 years. It was like a solid 2.5 years where I slept maybe 4 hours a night, just pots of coffee during the day.
So what made you want to go into nursing, to switch your career field from avionics to nursing instead of teaching?
It was complicated. The nursing part. So I did go from avionics to nursing, and the decision came in while I was an instructor. Again, so my instructors had mentioned about my supervisors had mentioned about getting an education, taking some classes, things like that. He was trying to put me in for some award, and he told me take a class, any class, so I could put it down, and that way I can just mark the box that you're actually taking a class. You got your educational goals. You're working on your educational goals. And Diana had just finished, or you had just finished
EMT.
your EMT basic. And so I remember studying with her, helping her study with it. And so I'm like, I could do that. So I took the EMT basic course, and went through it, passed it, things went well. Then once I got done with it, I really didn't do anything with it. I was just kind of holding on to it and not pursuing anything with it. And then I realized I can also volunteer. So again, I was trying to get ahead in the Air Force, and so I can volunteer at a hospital using my EMT basic. And so I went to this little small hospital in Ogden, Utah. And I remember my first day as a volunteer in the emergency room. They were trying to train me up as a tech. And it was my first day there, and this huge accident happened right across the street from the hospital. It was a minivan full of kids and a minivan full of like elderly folks. They both crashed, wrecked. It was a huge thing. I think it was a total of like 12 injured. And we heard about it, we ran out there, we brought the patients in. Again, this is a small hospital, not meant for traumas or anything, but we staged them up so that the ambulances and everything came in to pick them up and take them to the appropriate hospitals. But it was like a ER TV show moment. There was blood, there was screaming people, everything. And this was my first day. There was a nurse there and told me, follow me, I need your help. And so I followed the nurse and helped out as much as possible, and everything she said, I was there helping her out with everything. And that day was over. I was like, sign me up. I want to be a nurse, if this is what it is.
I was jealous because I was actually supposed to be a nurse first, but didn't work out. School went bankrupt, so I kind of just gave up. And then when he started pursuing it, he actually became the nurse before me. So then ever since then, you just went into your nursing career.
Yeah, and that started at Hill Air Force Base, and then when I got here, I started my college.
Grand Canyon.
I did all my community college classes, all geared toward nursing. In fact, I had a nurse tell me, if you take anatomy physiology class, just take it, and if you love it, then nursing is your calling. And I took it, and I absolutely loved the class. And
I've taken it, and I am a nurse, and I didn't love it.
I loved that class. It was
I
great.
did not love that class, and I didn't like his teacher. So
Her name's Marsha.
I didn't like her. She wasn't very good. Well, she wasn't good for me. You're always teacher's pet. So, anyways, we'll go speed through the nursing career. You got deployed. Wait, you graduated. You went to OTS, which is Officers Training School.
Right, in Alabama.
In Alabama.
Yeah.
We went to New Orleans from there.
We came back for a quick little here in Phoenix. My nurse intern fellowship, nurse fellowship thing.
Yeah.
Over in the Scottsdale side. So not at Luke Air Force Base, but over in Scottsdale. Was here for 6 weeks.
Is that where you went, Paul?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, and then ended up being stationed
In Texas.
in Las Vegas.
Las Vegas. Oh yeah, Las Vegas. Oh yeah.
Yeah, went to Las Vegas first. I was there for 3 years. Was on a medical surgical floor. That was the roughest 3 years. Roughest 3 years.
Sorry, it's our dogs.
So I was in avionics, worked flatline, snow, ice, 120-degree weather, on top of the jets, the exhaust and everything. I'm telling you, my hardest 3 years was working the medical surgical floor in Las Vegas. That was exhausting.
And Nellis.
At Nellis Air Force Base.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that. And then where's your first time you got deployed during your nursing?
So my first time I got deployed was after Las Vegas. I got a fellowship to be in the ICU, an ICU fellowship. Came back to Scottsdale over here, Scottsdale, Arizona, for a year. So kind of stationed at Luke Air Force Base for a year. And then after my 1 year fellowship I got my orders to go to San Antonio. And I was at the SAMC, which is the biggest hospital in the military. It's the only level 1 trauma hospital in the military. I was there for 8-9 months. I think like 9 months, and I was deployed to Afghanistan the first time in 2016. Yes, 2016. Deployed to Afghanistan.
When was the bombing? Was that in Afghanistan?
It was in Afghanistan, yes.
So I remember that day because I was with Shay and Ernie.
Yeah.
It was on my birthday.
It was your birthday.
And I got I don't know, did I get a phone call? I don't remember how I found out that you had the bombing. Oh no, I saw it in the news because we were going out to eat and we saw it on the news, and then I was trying to get a hold of you and I couldn't get a hold of you. And we knew that something happened on your base because that's what we had heard. Me, Shane, Ernie, stressed out. I was stressed out. They were trying to keep me calm, trying to figure out what's going on. And then finally, I think later in the day, we heard from you. So.
Yeah, and I remember trying to get a hold of you as soon as I knew it was about to get very serious.
Yes.
And
that's all we saw in the news.
all communications just cut off.
Yeah, because that's all we saw in the news. And me and Shane Ernie kept looking at the news and everything. They were like the best people for me to be around because Ernie knows everything's going on. Shay's very calm. I sat through that. Hearing from you was better. And then, is that when you first started, you think your PTSD started?
Yeah, that was a very, that was,
Hard situation.
it was very hard.
Yeah.
Um,
So when you got back, I guess that's when we went to Galveston. Remember?
yeah.
Yeah. So during that time, when Victor came back, you probably don't know from my side, when you came back, you were very zoned out. You were very kind of closed in. I kept asking you, like, what's going on? What's going on? Like, and everything. And you just give me little blurts here and there. As you drank a little bit, you would give me more. And then you would tell me a little bit more about different situations. But me, I don't know it. I just didn't want to push it with you because I don't know what it's like to be there. I just know what I experienced from this end, nothing compared to what you experienced. And I think when we were staying at the hotel, I kind of, that was the first time I've ever experienced PTSD with you. And then from then on, it was just ongoing. And I just think that you're not the only one that's experienced it, but a lot of people has experienced it. So it was super hard for me to go through it. I was trying to explain it to your parents about it. I tried to explain it to your cousin, Susie and Jose, because they've actually experienced it with you. Jose has. So it was a hard battle that first couple of years, because it would pop up out of nowhere. You probably don't even remember half the times you're in it because you're just zoned out. It's got, a lot of people's gone through PTSD, but you've never understand what the other person's going through. I can never, ever know what it's like, what you're going through or what's going in your head. It's scary for me because I'm not in control of the situation. You're not in control of the situation. So we kind of don't know like which way it's going to go. I understand when people talk about different people committing suicide, military committing suicide because of their PTSD or because of situations they've gone through the war times, being deployed and everything. I understand that it's hard on the family. I had to explain it to the boys. I had to explain it to our daughter. I had to explain it to our other kids. So you still experience it.
Yeah. It's better. It's better. I don't know. I feel more in control now. I was at a point where I didn't feel like I was in control, and it happened. It would happen at just random times, and
it's scary because the blank look. You would be talking to me, and you're just blanked out, and it would even your mother and I both can console you. There's nothing, and then I felt like if I wasn't around you during those times, I was scared you're gonna do something. You were at Rocky Point one time and you were having it, and I had already explained it to Susie and I think Jose experienced it, and we all kind of knew that like it's a serious thing. But I feel like, as a spouse, if I'm not there, like handling the situation, then something bad's gonna happen, or you're gonna do something bad, which could easily happen.
yeah. Yeah, I just there a lot of, like you said, a lot of it was blank stuff. I can't remember quite a bit of it. I just know I get stuck on a thought process, and it just would gut me out.
Yeah. Maybe in another video, if you ever feel like you want to talk, like what happened during that time. I mean, that's on you. You know, that's on you. That's your decision if you want to talk about it. But we know that a lot of the military do experience this. Um, like I said before in my first video, there's not a lot of information there's therapy and help for the people going through it. They can just talk to you and everything like that. There's not much out there for the spouses and for the family members. There's groups that they can reach out to, but it's nothing. Like, he doesn't feel like he's in control. I don't feel like I can be in control of that. It's like, I don't know what to say in that situation. I don't know what to do in that situation. It's just, you feel so hopeless, and it breaks my heart to go through that. But I think that we're kind of getting in a better situation as far as that is, right?
Yes, and yeah, my heart goes out to military members that are stuck in this, because I had a friend from the same. We were in Afghanistan together. He had a different result. Took his life a couple years after our Afghanistan tour.
Yeah. Yeah. And we never want to hear that. So I do feel that. And I never want my boys to go through that. Now that they're both in the military, it's hard, because just going through with you, I just can't imagine going through it with them too. So it breaks my heart. I have all respect for our military families. It takes a lot of work to be in the military, mentally and physically.
Yeah.
We've been together 30 years, all the way through your whole military career, and we're one of the lucky ones that have stuck together. We have several friends that have stuck together with their spouses. It's really not like a normal marriage. It's like a lot of, you're serving the country, and I have to understand that, and I have to understand where you're going and why you're doing it, and you're always prepared for war. You're always prepared for all that, and I have to, as a military wife, have to be prepared for that too. I see, and then that goes to having sons that are in the military. I always have to know. At one point, a couple years ago, all three of you were deployed out, and that was super hard for me, because I had all my sons plus my husband was deployed. So it was hard on me. It was hard on our families. Our families have been good and understanding. I think you're trying to figure out where you were.
I can't remember if it was the second time I was in Afghanistan, or was it when I went to Africa in 2020?
I don't remember. But we had the little ribbon that had
Yeah.
the 3 stars on there representing each one of you guys, and then even my stepmother and my father they put magnets on their cars, and then they put it on a flag in their window for it. So our families have been super good about all of this.
Yeah. You know, my father-in-law, your dad, is also, he's also a veteran himself.
Yes, and we went to his funeral, so it was nice to be there. They recognize him so much. Even my other uncles too, they recognize him so much as far as when they pass away. They're never forgotten. Like, it's been years and years since he's been in the military, and he was never forgotten as far as military. They honored him with a flag and everything. on top of his police. So, yeah. And then, several members of your family, or a couple members of your families
Yep.
served in the military. Nephews,
cousins,
and everything. I've had several uncles serve in the military. My stepsister served in the military. My boys obviously served in the military. So that's kind of where we're at as far as explaining about this whole military thing. We will elaborate more if Victor allows us to talk more about his PTSD. I think that with him sharing it, it might help some other people. I feel like if I'm sharing it, it might reach out to some spouses that are experienced that. But there's other aspects of the military. We've always had fun. I mean, we've met so many people that we still keep in contact with, and so many people we love that are in the military, that retired or gotten out of the military. We love them. It's probably the best friendships that we've had forever with them. Of course, I met you. We met Eric. You met Eric. I actually met Eric before you. Yeah. So there's ups and downs. Military's been good to us. It's been good to me. I met my husband. Boys are in the military. So actually we're spending Luke days this weekend.
Yeah.
We're gonna go
be at the air show.
We're gonna go see the flight line and show the kids like where you used to work at and everything. We actually got married on the base too.
We did.
And then our son and his wife got married at the same base at Luke Air Force Base. So that was pretty cool. So, anything else you want to say?
Just in Air Force career wise, after San Antonio, came back to Nellis Air Force Base.
Yes.
Deployed one more time, retired out of there.
You were during COVID. You were there.
Yeah. So I'm talking about short notice orders. My commander sat me down, let me know that I was the best qualified person for that. She chose me to go on this almost secret mission, because we really didn't know where we were headed till we were in Virginia. I think we were about to leave Virginia. After we left Virginia, they didn't let us know exactly where we were headed. But when I sat down with my commander at Nellis, she said, "Go home. You're gonna jump on a plane in 4 days. I can't tell you. I don't know where you're going. I can't tell you where you're going. Just be ready for anything."
We just moved over to Vegas.
Yeah.
With your parents.
We had just moved over here in January, and I was on a plane in first week of April, I think it was.
Yeah, because COVID hit in March.
Yeah, first week of April, I was already on a military plane, going over the Atlantic, and ended up going to Djibouti, Africa.
Doing secret experiments in.
Yes.
That wasn't told to anybody on that. That was before they were just getting to do the shots, the Mounjaro and Pfizer.
That wasn't Mounjaro. Moderna. Yeah.
And Pfizer.
Yeah.
And that was a scary time too, because we didn't know what was going on.
That's true.
Because I was working, you were deployed, and your parents had just moved in with us waiting for their house to get built. So, and everything was shut down. And it was hard because I had to keep everybody in my household calm. And your mom had us going to, we were going to the store all the time getting toilet paper and paper towels all the time.
Yeah, I remember right before we left, before I left, we loaded up with firearms and stuff.
Yes.
Because
oh yeah.
We didn't know if the zombie apocalypse was
yeah.
about to happen.
We loaded with firearms. We didn't know what was going to happen. We talked to our kids about it. So yeah, that was pretty scary.
It's crazy.
Yeah. And then talking to you when you were in Djibouti, I didn't know what was going on because you're like, I had to go to work and then go back into your shipping container, and then they would send you your food all the time.
Very rough. Worst deployment. I've had 7. I've been to 7 deployments. Technically 8, but one was one had to do with the Olympics in
Utah.
2002, I think it was. 2002 is actually considered a deployment, which, by the way, if you don't know, the military has eyes on major events in all the country. When the Olympics was in Utah, we had fighter aircraft in the air doing circles 24/7 for a week before Olympics started till a week after Olympics ended. Fully loaded aircraft, bombs, missiles, everything, ready for anything that came up. So there was always at least 2 jets flying around. So, I would imagine it's the same with any major event that's happening, Super Bowl, that kind of stuff. It's very well protected, let's just say. But yeah, so got done with that deployment in Africa, came back, retired the next year, December 31st of 2021. And here I am 5 years later, retired, and still in the nursing business.
And we're going to talk about his little travel nursing, his experiences, because those are some creepy experiences, some creepy houses and everything. That's another episode. And also we'll talk more, we just talked about his whole military career and everything like that. There's more in details in between all that. Some fun aspects of it and some, crazy aspects of it. So, we'll go into more details. We just wanted to kind of go over the military thing, a little touch a basis on the PTSD a little bit, but we'll go over more later. All right, we're going to wrap it up tonight. Thanks for joining us. I hope we didn't bore you too much. We'll go more in details. We'll make it more fun, lively. Thank you. Bye. Have a nice night.